Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are studying chapter 2.2 Organization and Management, out of which we'll be studying the point 2.2.2 Draw, Interpret and Understand Simple Organizational Charts, where we'll be right now doing the subpart Simple Hierarchy Structures, Span of Control, Level of Hierarchy and Chain of Command. Okay, now let me try to make you understand this, because it's going to be a bit complicated at this point, until obviously you understand the whole thing. Now, first of all, we have to understand what is a chain of command, okay, or what is a span of control. Okay, let's start with chain of command. Chain of command is basically who does a worker report to. Basically, in a nutshell, this is what it is. Who do you report to? Okay, so for example, you're working in a company and you report to your manager. Okay, you do not go directly to the director of the company and report to him, right? So what you do is you report to your manager. The manager reports whoever needs to be reported. You see, the manager knows who to report. Over here I will show you a simple chart, and basically this is just for demonstration. We'll discuss how it goes. Okay, so chain of command is basically who do you report to, and who does that guy report to, and who does that guy report to, and so on and so forth. This is what it is in a nutshell. The whole thing I'm going to explain to you is the same thing, right? So you understand what a chain of command is. Okay, let me read out the definition, just in case. Okay, the definition of chain of command is an official hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy of authority that dictates who is in charge of whom and of whom permission must be asked for anything, really. Okay, an example of chain of command is when an employee reports to a manager, who reports to a senior manager, who reports to the vice president, who reports to the CEO of a company, and so on and so forth. So basically, the CEO of the company cannot control every single employee, cleaners and everything, right? So what he does, he asks the vice president to look after, right? So CEO does the business part, okay, and takes the big decisions. However, vice president, okay, does the much more smaller yet still bigger things. Vice president implements the CEO's commands, or what does he wish to do, as to speak, right? So the vice president only speaks to senior managers. Okay, so senior manager, vice president, maybe vice president has, like, let's say 4 senior managers. Okay, so he speaks or gives work out to senior managers. I want the number of production to be increased, I want quality to be controlled, I want waste to be controlled, and stuff like that. And the vice president reports to the manager of the department. Okay, so the vice manager goes to the senior manager goes to the managers, direct managers, and then they tell the managers what they want done. Okay, and then managers don't actually have to tell each employee that I have been told to do this or that. Manager just gives instructions to the employee or the worker to do this or that, or whatever it needs to be done. Okay, so basically CEO, vice president, senior manager, employee. Okay, so employee does not go to the CEO, he goes to the manager goes to vice manager, senior manager goes to the president goes to the CEO, and so on and so forth. See what happens, right? The CEO doesn't want to know who is absent, or maybe why is the work stopped, right? CEO doesn't care. He just wants the work done. How to get the work done is not his problem. Okay, his problem is just to pass on instructions. I need more of this, I need more of that, or something like that. And the vice president, the senior managers, and the managers are responsible to make the guy do the work, to make the worker do the work so the target could be achieved. Okay, so a bit confusing, okay, but stay with me. Okay, so chain of command, one guy talks to this guy, talks to this guy, talks to this guy, and this guy does all the work. Okay, so this is basically how it goes. Okay, so this is called a chain of command. Okay, so one guy from the bottom does not go straight to the top. He talks to the guy above him, to the guy above him, to the guy above him, and then it goes to the top if it needs to go to the top, you see, because whereas worker just does work, right? He has no rights of decision. Okay, however, the manager has to decide, right? He has some decisions. Okay, he cannot do every decision. He has some rights. He can make some decisions to get the work done. And then if he needs more decision than that, maybe a bit harder than that, he goes to the senior manager. And if it is like something more complicated than that, goes to the president, vice president, and then the CEO. So not everything gets to the CEO. Okay, everything most probably gets solved in the way. Okay, and the CEO really doesn't want to know the day-to-day working on how people work and who is absent and who is present and all. He just wants the work done, really. So as long as the work is done, he doesn't really care how managers manage, as long as, you know, everybody's in profit and stuff. Okay, so this is called chain of command or hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy is basically this is not the exact definition of hierarchy, but who is higher than you, as to speak, who is at which level of management, you see. So like as you can see in this chart, right? So there are levels and you cannot go beyond your level, right? Okay, so let me explain you or give you the definition of hierarchy. Level of hierarchy, sometimes organizational level in the management hierarchy, is the term that characterizes the number of degrees of organization units within the organizational structure of the organization. In other words, it is the number of horizontal layers which can be seen in the organizational chart. So I have explained to you level of hierarchy. I've explained to you chain of command. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you the span of control. Okay, so what is the span of control? A span of control refers to the number of subordinates under the manager's direct control. Okay, a manager having 5 people directly reporting to him have a span of control of 5. Okay, so span of control, basically, I just have to define this word, really. It doesn't actually need to be worked anywhere. A span of control is basically a manager controls 5 workers, right? So his span of control is 5, as to speak, right? And for example, the director, or let's say called the CEO, controls 2 vice presidents or 1 vice president maybe. Okay, and then he has a span of control of 1. Okay, and then the vice president controls 5 senior managers. Okay, so he has span of control of 5, and the vice manager control maybe the senior manager controls maybe 10 managers. Okay, so he has a span of control of 10. Okay, and then those 10 managers each control 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Okay, 20 workers, as to speak. So he has the span of control of 5, 10, 20, whatever. Okay, so that is basically span of control, how much control you have in the organization. So I have control over everybody that comes and reports directly to me. Okay, so if somebody is working under me, as to speak, okay, in the level of hierarchy, okay, he or she reports to me. Okay, so I have a span of control of whatever the number may be. Okay, so not very complicated. Okay, it's just basically you report to somebody, he reports to somebody, he reports to somebody, and the bigger decisions need to be taken high up. Okay, and the smaller decisions are just made, you know, at the level they are made. Okay, so everybody has different powers. Not everybody can do everything, right? For example, let's say there are 500 people working in this building. Okay, let's say there are 500 people working here, and for example, the place is now, you know, there is no place, and you know, it's very hard for 500 people to fit in here. So the workers obviously have no decision. They will report to the manager. They go like, oh my god, the working conditions are really bad. Okay, and then he goes and reports to the senior manager. Well, every worker is saying the working conditions are really bad, so can you please arrange some other place also, so we can divide them. Okay, and then obviously the senior manager still can't make a decision because he's just a senior manager, and to get a new place means a lot of money and a lot of decision power. So it goes to the vice president. Vice president might just give them another place to divide the employees, might not. Okay, so it might go to the CEO, and the CEO, well, you need to build another building or you need to buy another building so we can divide workers. Okay, so something like that. Okay, but on the other hand, if for example, I don't know, the machine's not working properly, that's not the CEO's problem, is it? That's the manager's problem. Okay, it depends on the problem. You see, maybe the machine's just something's broken. The manager would just order one of the workers to replace it, and that's it, really. Okay, the CEO doesn't need to know that something broke, and that's about it, isn't it? Okay, so span of control, how many people under you, level of hierarchy, which level you are on, right? And chain of command, who do you report to? Right, now we are coming to 2.2.2, the role of management. Okay, function of management, therefore planning, organization, coordination, commanding, and controlling, and importance of delegation, trust versus control. Okay, so we'll be coming to that. Okay, so now let me explain to you the role of management. Number one, the syllabus says planning. Okay, what does the management do? If worker does all the work, okay, what does the management do? Very important question. Okay, the management does all the planning. Okay, so the planning is set the goals for the future of the organization. Okay, so that's what they do in the big seat. You see, they set goals. Okay, give the business a sense of direction and purpose. Okay, so for example, if they say the sale needs to increase by 10% by the next year, that's it. That's what's going to happen, right? And the CEO comes with it, 10% sale increase. Okay, then the vice president gets informed, I need 10% increase in sales, and the vice president tells the supervisor, increase the sale, and the supervisor tells the the manager, and the manager says, well, I need more machinery, and then it goes backwards, and more machinery comes in, and then the thing increases. Okay, so they give a business a sense of direction and purpose. Okay, so if more employees need to be employed, or maybe more machinery needs to come in, so that's planning. Okay, number two, we have organization. Okay, managements sit down and organize. Okay, organization of people and resources so that the business operates efficiently. Okay, managers can't do everything. Okay, so they need their employees to do the work. Okay, employees and others, Okay, number three that the management does is coordination. Okay, they coordinate with the departments. Okay, making sure all departments are working together to achieve the overall objective and plan of the organization. Okay, so manager makes sure the marketing and operation department works together to plan for the new launch, for example. Okay, number four that they do is commanding. Okay, they command. Okay, they give you instructions or commands. Okay, guiding, leading, supervising the employees in the organization. Manager need to make sure that the employees are doing their work. Okay, so that's what managers do. They command, and then they get back responses whether you've done what has been commanded to you or not. Okay, so number five that they do is controlling. Okay, what is controlling? The involvements. This involves monitoring performance to ensure that the objective will be met. Okay, so first of all, they kind of command you to do something. Okay, and then they control. Okay, they control, they ensure that the target will be met, or the objective will be met, and everything will work smoothly. Okay, so if something doesn't work smoothly, they'll find out why, they will find out how to fix it, and they will do it. Okay, so that is management. Okay, So not very complicated. I don't suppose you need to know the meanings of everything, and I don't suppose you need to learn everything. As long as you understand what I am talking about. Okay, so the management sits down, plans, okay, organizes, coordinates, commands, and then controls the output. Okay, as in to get feedback and what's going on and what's not. Okay, so that's that. Now we come to importance of delegation, trust versus control. Okay, so passing down authority and responsibility to the subordinates, for example employees. Okay, so the manager cannot stand on their head all the time, otherwise it's very hard to work. Okay, so what he does is passes some of the responsibility to the employees, like for example, you need to operate this machine, and that's it. Moves back. Okay, lets him do his work. Okay, so when he does his work at the end of the day or end of the month or whatever, they come to check their progress. Have they done what has been told to do or not? Okay, so now what are the advantages of delegation? Okay, delegation, more time for managers to do other tasks. Okay, so managers can give employee responsibility, because employees supposed to do all the work, right? So they give employees all the responsibility and they move on to do other tasks. Okay, maybe they have to, I don't know, put down how much thing was made this month, or how much product is made, or how much expenditure or something like that. They need more time. They can't be standing on your head all the time making you do the work. You have to do the work and just give the output, give the results. Okay, more interesting and rewarding work for employee. Okay, so therefore motivational. Okay, I trust you to do this. Okay, so that's delegation for you. Okay, employees feel trusted or motivated. Okay, because I've been given this task to do, so I will complete it. Okay, train employees to do important tasks. Okay, so do remember that these workers will come on the top one day. Okay, for example, from workers, when the manager retires or something, one of the senior workers will become a manager, and then one of the senior managers will become vice president someday, and supervisor someday, and stuff like that. So they need to be given more responsibility, so the company can find out who is more responsible and who can take on more load, as in to say, to become a manager or something one day. One day we'll be there. Anyway, that's all done. Now we come to leadership styles. Features of main leadership styles, therefore: autocrat, democrat, and laissez-faire. Okay, so let me explain that to you. So very easy, this one. Okay, leadership styles. Okay, so as I told you, there are 3 leadership styles that the syllabus wants me to explain to you. Very easy, don't need to learn, just try to understand. Okay, so there are 3 leadership styles. The first one we'll talk about is autocrat. Autocrat, yes. Leader is in charge to give orders to employees. Okay, so the leader, the guy who's employed you, is in charge to give you orders. Okay, what does this do? This makes this he makes decisions alone. Okay, so he sits down in his small room and thinks of something, and he makes his own decisions. Okay, there is nobody controlling him. He does not ask the employees whether you can do it or not. He just assumes that you can and makes a decision. Everything depends on the leader, you see. So everything in this, everything depends on the leader. Okay, so the leader is king over here. Okay, so whoever is leading the company. This may demotivate employees, right? This may demotivate employees, as like, for example, if he tells you need to make 10 extra things of this or that, it may demotivate as soon, like, oh my god, I've got so much workload nowadays. Okay, and maybe an advantage for some businesses that decision needs to be made quickly, you see. So in some businesses, when a decision needs to be made quickly, the decision has to be made by just one person. He doesn't need to ask anybody. So as soon as he's faced with a decision, he makes it. Okay, because he actually doesn't need to ask anybody. Okay, so that is autocrat. Okay, a guy sits on the top, thinks of ideas, thinks of things to do, and makes it done. What I would assume is autocrat is kind of a small business, as in a new startup or something. The guy is in charge. The guy tells he has 2 3 employees, and he tells employees to do work, and employees do their work, and he makes all the decisions. So that's it, autocrat. The decisions are made really quickly, and he's the one who's making it. So there we go, autocrat. Okay, number 2 is democratic. Okay, democratic is, as you would think, obviously other employees are involved in decision making, right? So how are they involved in decision making? Communication between managers and employees. Okay, so managers talk to employees, okay, and they sit together to make a decision. Okay, as in, like, I need to improve this bit of something or that bit of something. How do I do it? Like, what do you advise, or something like that. Okay, future plans are discussed with other employees. Okay, so they are kept in the loop, as to speak. Okay, so kept in the loop as in what to do and how to do it, and future plans. So that's good. I think that's motivational. Okay, motivates employees because they are involved in making decisions. Okay, so if they can make decisions, when they are involved in making decisions, you see, the final decision is still the managers. You see, the final decision is still the guy at the top. Okay, but he involves you in making the decision, as in you can tell him if something is right or wrong. Okay, they can share ideas within the business. Okay, so maybe an employee has a certain idea. Okay, and he tells the manager and go like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then suddenly the problem has a solution. So democratic. Okay, can delay decision making. This can delay decision making, you see, because instead of making a decision, okay, he or she needs to talk to his employees, make sure everybody agrees with it in order to make a decision. Okay, so it can delay decision making. Now we come to the third, and I think the most interesting part of this. Okay, laissez-faire. Okay, what is laissez-faire? Basically, it's French for let it be. Okay, leader sets objectives and employees make decision and organize their own work. Okay, so I think this is the much better approach to management. Okay, so leader sits on the top and he goes like, I want 10% increase in production. Okay, and then I don't know how you're going to do it, but you are going to do it. Okay, so sets goals. Okay, sets objectives. I want 10 of these, I want 20 of these. I don't want it in red color, I want it in green color, but I don't know how you're going to make it. Okay, as long as you make it. Okay, I don't care how you make it. Okay, as long as the result is there. Okay, this can be useful with creative ideas are needed, right? Where creative ideas are needed, this can be useful. For example, I need a new product. Okay, I need something that is creative, or a new product. So I don't know how you're going to make a new product, but just go make it. Okay, so the worker could be a skilled worker, and he could go and make a new thing which nobody thought of before, and there we are. Okay, and then highly motivational for employees as they control their own working life, right? So I want 10 of this at the end of the week. I don't care how you're going to do it, as long as you get me 10 of these at the end of the week. So it can be really motivational, because if your capability is more than that, then you can control your own work time. Okay, so for example, mostly this plays a good role in online working, right? So for example, if you're doing work from home, okay, so the manager gives you a certain task and says, I want this task to be completed. I don't care how you do it, I don't care what you do with it, as long as I get results. So there we are. Okay, poor coordination and decision making, right? So for example, this manager guy, right, has proven to be a manager, okay, and to take decisions and all. So the employees might not think of everything before they make a decision. Okay, so they might not take into consideration the cost. Okay, or they might not take into consideration the time. Okay, they might not be very because you see, laissez-faire depends on on a good teamwork, right? So maybe, for example, a task needs to be done by 5 people. However, one of them, is not motivated, is not interested, or maybe he has something wrong with his, he has some family issue and he needs to sort that out, so he's not really interested in the company. So until there is teamwork, this thing cannot go ahead. So there we are. It relies on good teamwork. Okay, laissez-faire relies on good teamwork. However, the other two does not rely so much on teamwork, rather it relies on other things. Okay, leadership styles may be different on dependent on various factors. Okay, therefore type of business, okay, creative or supply demand. Okay, and the second could be nature of task. Okay, requires cooperation from some other department or something like that. Okay, so leadership styles change according to whatever you're doing, right? So there we have it. Number 3 finished, and we are, I think I'm happy. Are you happy? Okay, last part we are going to discuss today is trade unions. Okay, now trade unions are a group of workers who have joined together to ensure that their interests are protected. Okay, so for example, employees, okay, it has nothing to do with an official body or something. Employees join together, okay, to make a trade union. Okay, their purpose is to make sure that their interests are protected. Employees obviously want to give you less salary and make you do more work. Okay, but when workers join together, they make sure they get their rights. Okay, what are why join a trade union? Okay, why? Okay, improve conditions of employment. Okay, it improves your conditions of employment, as in, like, I want gloves. Okay, and if trade union says, well, you have to provide gloves, to everybody, that's it. Improved work conditions, right? Okay, improved work environment. Okay, for example, well, you're working and it's really hot, right? So you want AC. Okay, or you want, to cool down, so you kind of tell the trade union, and the trade union tells the manager. He says, well, if you don't give them, ACs, environment, proper environment, clean environment, they will not work. Okay, so the manager, the owner of the business has to actually provide it. Okay, so improving work conditions, improved benefits. Okay, so for example, they could go like, oh no, I'm getting paid very less, I need more money. So the owner kind of has to provide it. So everything negative, trade union is everything negative for an employee, sorry, for a business owner. However, everything positive for a employee. Okay, so that is trade union. Okay, improved job satisfaction could be part of it. Okay, improved job satisfaction, as in, like, you get what you want, and if you have a problem, you go to trade union and they will sort it out for you. Okay, they will advise you. Trade union will get together, advise you, and financially support you. Okay, for example, if you need, I don't know, advance money or something, you can ask your trade union manager or whatever, trade union, and they will sort you out. Okay, and obviously you do understand there is always strength in numbers. So if nobody will listen to you, they will listen to the trade union, because they'll go on strike and they stop working if you don't listen to them. Okay, so advantages for employees, and big disadvantages to the big corporations or company or anything like that, because this takes into consideration the interest of employees and not the interest of the owners. Okay, so there are, obviously, when there are advantages, there is a disadvantage. Okay, it costs money to be a member. Okay, it might cost money to be a member of a trade union. Okay, so you have to kind of pay them money, so that when you have a problem, you can go to them and they'll sort you out. Okay, they will work for you, as to speak. Okay, and another disadvantage is you may be forced to take action. For example, go on strike even if you do not agree with the point, right? So somebody has some problem and the managers are not sorting it out, and you think, well, this is not a problem. but you still have to go on strike because you are a member. Okay, so these are some of the disadvantages of uh, trade union. Okay, so trade union advantages and disadvantages. With this, I think we come to with this we come to the end of the chapter. Best of luck for your exam. Hope you make it. If you've watched this video and if you watched every video of mine, you'll probably make it. Okay, you'll make it good. Okay, you'll get A grades and all. Okay, if you do not understand what I am saying, or maybe you don't understand a point, okay, leave me a comment below, ask me. I will try to communicate with you and properly explain you. If I am not still able to explain to you in written, for example, I'll make another video about it. Okay, I will make sure you understand. Do not worry, try your best. Do not make notes. Okay, do not make notes and learn and learn and learn. Business studies is about common sense. Okay, as long as you have common sense, as long as you understand. Okay, you might not understand, right? That's fairly genuine. You might not understand what I'm talking about. It might be a bit complicated. Okay, because you're obviously hearing about it for the first time, so it might be a bit complicated. However, if you do face a problem, okay, I am here to help you. Okay, I will get you through it. Okay, free of cost, obviously, right? Don't worry about it. And I will get you to the end. Okay, and you will get an A grade, I promise. As long as you watch my videos, I will get you an A grade. Okay, thank you very much. This is your host Mohsen Bukhari.